That's right, it's another late night and time for another reach into the Just Giggle It grab bag, and tonight we're pulling out. Oh my god, it's finally here, Tiki! It's finally here! It's the Robotstitute, man! Ordered right on time.
Yeah, we ordered it and then just like immediately it came, Dragon. We didn't have to wait at all.
It was sent from Skynet or something.
Oh god. All right, so that's right, folks. We on the grab bag here. This is a new venture for us because we are venturing into talking about a short film produced by the likes of the Just Giggle It cast and crew. Now, of course, our main bread and butter of the grab bag has been the Just Giggle It flagship series of sketches, and this Robotstitute very much falls into that same category, that same vein. But it's more ambitious, folks. What we're talking about here, it's a 10-minute short film. It's got a cast and crew. It's got 2 different directors on board, including the great Piper Henson. It's got, I'm assuming, a bigger budget than most of the other JGI sketches. Dragon, any other background we need to be aware of for this thing?
Yes. So of course this was directed. Honestly, according to them, it's mostly Piper Henson's baby. Basically, Sherry Shee. Of course, things are gonna be difficult when you are both starring and directing in something. But basically, Piper Henson, she had the idea roughly 5 years back, and it went to the infamous Joshua Thomas Prince vault, where it kind of languished on a shelf for a while. You know, basically a lot of
Joshua Thomas Prince vault is like the sketch comedy version of getting friend zoned.
Well, regardless, it was kind of like the age-old kind of those tomes and tomes and tomes of sketches, or like pieces of sketches that are filmed, unfilmed. Scripts like the script episode 7 of Harley Quinn, the Joker versus the Real World's in there. It's like they're all just waiting, man. They're all in development. It's all.
I would be surprised if the script for Harley Quinn and the Joker versus the Real World episode 10 is in there.
Well, I know for a fact it is, but I can't say much more beyond that. We've glimpsed it, folks. It's like the walls of Disney while it's under construction.
Episode 10? Really?
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure, honestly. I know he has most of it. I know there's roughly at least 12 episodes that are most likely worked out. I'm pretty sure 10
right.
worked out. Regardless, we're getting off track. My point is Robotstitute was an idea Piper Henson had years back, and essentially it was kind of dusted off the shelf within the vault. It was kind of taken out and says, you know what? Well, we'll get to it. And Joshua Thomas, he kind of took he was the writer who then he kind of adopted the baby within the vault, the baby Yoda in the vault, if you will.
Oh God!
And kind of took the sketch under his wing. He kind of really polished it up in kind of the writing and the drafting phases, let's call it. And of course, it finds its way back to the proud mama that is Piper Henson, who kind of birthed the idea in the first place. She and Sherry Shee. Along with Joshua Thomas in the writing department. Also, Piper Henson, from what I hear, she was key in the editing phase. While Joshua Thomas, of course, likes to wear many hats. Again, his front lawn looks like it's from the opening shot of The Prestige. Basically, Joshua Thomas, while he did man the edit, Piper Henson was there every step of the way during the production, man. Very, very importanto, Piper Henson, to this sketch. Of course, it was written by Joshua Thomas. I'm sure Piper Henson definitely, with the initial concept of the idea, had a little touch up here and there, but yeah, it's very much kind of a team effort in the best of creative senses. Essentially, it's very much kind of like very much a Black Mirror Twilight Zone vibe. It's kind of a cautionary tale about the advancement of technology.
Yeah, it is, but it's also got some funniness to it. It doesn't completely abandon the traditional JGI kind of, the G in Just Giggle It. You know what I mean? That's still intact. And what I like about this specifically, Dragon, is how well they managed to kind of form that tightrope between sort of it being Black Mirror and it being Futurama, if you will.
Oh, absolutely. There's a little bit of the. You were thinking of the Kiss and the Robot episode, the Lucy Liu episode.
Yes. Oh God.
Because I keep thinking, I keep remember the cautionary. Remember the cautionary little self-help video, like the whole I'm gonna make out my Monroe-bot. I think if it was Marilyn Monroe or not, the whole I'm gonna make out with my with my robot instead of actually making out with the real girl.
Right, exactly.
Okay, but I want to bring up something though. Now, again, it's just kind of purely coincidental, I'm sure, but on Netflix, the recent Bill Burr special, did this jump to your mind at all?
Oh God, I gotta tell you, I watched so much stuff. The Bill Burr thing didn't really stick with me at all.
Well, I can't help but think of Paper Tiger, Bill Burr's stand-up special, because he had a really great bit. I'm pretty sure it was from Paper Tiger. I rewatched a couple of the old ones. I'm like 90% certain it was in Paper Tiger, but regardless, Bill Burr had this great bit about sex dolls. And the ingenious bit was that basically when you say sex dolls, of course, there's a presumption it's like, oh god, it's a sex doll. But if you mention a robotic, basically like a robotic sex doll, like basically a robotic call girl of some variety, people will entertain the notion more than they would the rubber sex doll.
So Joshua Thomas's goal in the sketch, if you will, is to put that notion down a peg. Like, no, robots are probably just as disturbing, if not more so, than a sex doll.
Well, what I found so great about that is again, like Bill Burr, like his whole bit was like just pointing to the audience, saying, "See, you hesitated, you didn't scoff like you did at the other thing, you hesitated." And essentially, this is kind of feeling that, like, yeah, what if we did go forward with like just the little pause, a little basically, what if we expand upon that hesitation and put it into a sketch? It's a little, it can remind me a little bit of that, and I think that sounds really clever about this. Yeah, of course, the cell line of this piece um, being a when a guy tries everything to get laid, he finds the Robotstitute. He finds the Robotstitute online, and when she arrives, she has a few kinks to work out. Be careful what you wish for.
Hubba, hubba.
Oh god, there's some truly ingenious puns in this. I must admit. And anyway, the point being, so Robotstitute, and importantly though, we're going to seed a lot of our thoughts on throughout the course of the thing, I'm sure. So the point being, Robotstitute, it's I was very excited to see it come to fruition, and for reasons we'll get to once we break down the piece. Again, we had quite the live turnout for it. A lot of people, again, just kind of really excited to see really unique kind of not even a JGI sketch, as we're mentioning. We're in unfettered waters here. We've only flirted with something like this with Watching You, which was kind of a web series by proxy being broken down from.
Yeah, it wasn't that like technically like the pilot
Yeah,
of a web series broken up into individual episodes.
Exactly. It was kind of a pilot season, just kind of chopped up into 6 episodes, roughly.
Right.
All right. So that said, of course, I should mention too. I love Piper Hinson's directing style. So that was a big reason I was really excited for this, because again, she kind of sold me on Mad Men based on, based on her parody of Mad Men, vice versa. And I love there are some really great shots in this. Wouldn't you agree? I think we nailed there. I think this whole thing looks beautiful.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I said, like budget wise, I do think this whole thing is, it's got an air of professionalism to it, and they premiered it at film festivals and stuff, and it seems to have gotten a really good reaction. I mean, it's not like the runaway hit that something like Harley Quinn and the Joker versus the Real World is, but I have a feeling this is going to have the potential to really be sort of a rock in their back catalog. Like something to kind of like hold up high. It's a good resume builder, if you will.
Certainly.
It's like, all right, like we've done all this sketch comedy, and we've done so much sketch comedy, and these two fools for some reason have recapped almost everything we've done. And why not venture into another short film that, while having comedic elements, also has way more of a kind of traditional sort of narrative and twist and turns and like suspense, and all that's there in spades with Robotstitute. It really is.
Yep. All right, so let's break it down.
All right. So of course, gotta love the opening credits, Dragon. I think some of the imagery here is really striking. Of course, we have the kind of like the 90s style, like avatar with the black hair for Joshua Thomas. As his name pops up in the credits, we have sort of the the militant marching robot, sort of like surreal imagery, computers, sort of like an iRobot style robot. We see a robot with wearing a bikini, and then we see kind of like the inner wirings of her, like in the middle of her chest. All very good stuff. The music is definitely pitch point as well in terms of bringing us into the mood.
Yes, what is really great is demonstrates to me with the first of all it's a really sweet opening in terms of we got an opening this time around, man. It's kind of nice to see what the all well produced and like oh god, there's a little opening sequence, how delightful. Um, but aside from that, what I really gleaned from it is that it kind of demonstrates a mixture of the female form and technology, and also kind of the uncanniness. So it's kind of like a mixture of these three elements, which of course are gonna cope with the whole short's going to be.
Sure, sure.
All right, so we start things off with Joe, played by Joshua Thomas.
Joe.
Joe. Anyway, so we meet Joe.
I don't know why that name's so amusing, but I just kind of got a kick out of like, it's Joshua Thomas playing basically like, I don't know, Dragon. I don't know how much of a, how much of a playboy Joshua Thomas is, but I imagine Joe is somewhat of an exaggeration of that.
Well, I could break down the Freud implications now, but
oh dear,
I was going to hold off on it for a little bit.
I mean, this could very well be Joshua Thomas just working through some stuff. We don't know.
Okay, I'll get into it now.
All right, get into it. Get into it, please.
All right, so with just
a thesis.
Okay, so Joe, of course, when we learned that this character's name is Joe, something did pop to mind. So of course, I did pick up on there's a bit of a, if you're looking for, is a bit of a parallel to Eraseway in all this. Eraseway, of course, being kind of in the infancy, basically the San Antonio years of Joshua Thomas's catalog, one of his first kind of like feature, feature debuts, one could say. The Eraseway film that was on Just Giggle It for a brief time. It's kind of a then it was briefly. It's like the Disney Ball. It was briefly unleashed for the world to see. Then it was put back in there until JGI Plus launches sometime in the near future.
Oh God.
No, my point is
Plus is going to have everything. It's going to have like all the Kelsey Perbilski side projects. It's going to have like all the
hey, maybe we could be like the Leslie
all the improv stuff in HD.
Oh my God! I was realizing we could be the Leslie I Works, Imagineering documentary. We could be the with our elaborate interview. We've done all the interviews of the JJ players. We put those on there. Anyway,
of course, Joshua Thomas could like edit it all together, real fancy like for us.
He could say, I've been compiling it, boys. Been compiling.
Oh man.
Anyway, okay. So in all seriousness, what I'm getting at here, so Eraseway. So of course, Eraseway is very much kind of a you could see the younger, more optimistic view of relationships from a younger Joshua Thomas in Eraseway with the character of Joey. Yeah, Joey. Have Joe here again. That one's kind of a statement on kind of an optimistic view, very eternal sunshine on spotless mind. Purely unintentional, by the way. If anyone who's seen Eraseway, apparently Josh Thomas had not seen it at that time, so it's remarkably similar. But again, by sheer coincidence, that's kind of remarkable when you think about it. Regardless, so it's kind of like what I'm getting at is you have a parallel, perhaps, of the younger Joshua Thomas then. With a view of like, maybe she got on the plane in essence with the ending of Eraseway without saying anything actually happens in Eraseway, versus kind of the more cynical, made to order love that is kind of the crux of this character. Mm-hmm. So maybe a little Freudian, kind of like the evolution of Joshua Thomas's views, or at the very least his views on relationship comedy. One could argue, basically, kind of intimacy within a character, or kind of the male protagonist. That in this case is him. So again, the writer. Again, he can come up with the idea for this, but again, he did flesh it out, and the writer does have a lot of DNA within the writing, and DNA is going to play a part in this episode, folks. Believe me. Anyway. So Joey boy here, Joe. So Joe, he is he's watching an adult film.
Let me hear you. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Joe is watching an adult film, and he decides I get to break out a lot of my Seinfeld pulls here. Joe decides that he is no longer master of his domain, which leads to a great visual gag of like he's reaching under the pillow, he finds like the empty tissue box. Just cracks me up again, like the wonderful kind of identifiers. It like tosses the empty tissue box, it goes for the hand cream, which is empty. It's like on the last pump and like nothing. Which then leads to with any protagonist the call to action, or in this case, the call for action sequence.
This is very literally the call to action.
Again, more so the call for action.
And then within this call, Dragon, we get a bunch of little Easter eggs. Break out the red circles, folks.
Oh boy, yes. I was geeking out over this.
Yuka.
Yeah, you don't see Yuka that often. But that's okay. So essentially, this is serious. So this is I don't want to cut out just all the Easter eggs here, but real quick though, this is a superb edit on this sequence. Here's a really well done montage. Feels very Albuquerque. I think Vince Gill can be proud of this sort of thing right here because we do. It's like the thing with Mike in I want to say it was season 3 of Better Call. So we do like the multiple Mike shot when he's disassembling the car. Remember?
Oh yeah.
So essentially, so we have a lot of really just kind of great, like, kind of comedy kind of beats here. Where once we have like various unsuccessful phone calls or unsuccessful attempts to sway women to kind of come over and engage in some not so lonely time. Let's call it. So it calls Rebecca. Rebecca, they broke up. Hey, Rebecca, we broke up a few months. Oh, I know you have a boyfriend. No, it's not cheating if I've been inside you. So
Oh God. I mean, it is kind of setting the stage for like, okay, that shame thing that we're gonna get at the end, probably pretty well warranted.
Exactly. So again, we're building in like there's a degree of humanity to the character, but there's also a degree of there's some comeuppance built in there too. This guy's he's got some of this coming, some of it, mind you. Anyway, so of course he's named. He calls various women, of course, Nicole, Mal, Yuka, in reference to Yuka, the director, the director of the early the way basically the Mickey Rooney of JG. The whole hey, we got equipment. Why don't we? Basically the tipsy Mickey Rooney who kind of helped was kind of the third voice in the creation of JG. Like, hey, we got equipment. Let's put on some sketches.
Uh-huh.
So we have, Yuka mentioned Mal Smith, the great director Mal Smith, and Nicole. I'd like to think Nicole Dubois, but it could be Nicole Stone as well. A few Nicoles.
Yeah.
Anyway, and of course Emma Leonard, which that's an excellent pull right there. Emma Leonard.
Yeah, that was a good pull.
Yeah. Point being, we mentioned a lot of names like I recognize, like, oh my God, it's them.
Emma, I know my number's blocked. Please don't hang up.
Right. Oh, God.
So we don't have to go to Bangtown, but how about Finger City?
Finger City. Just
oh God.
Okay, so then we have the multiple Joshua Thomas shot. Was this really again very Albuquerque verse kind of shot right there? That one. I'm very. And this is what I'm talking about. Hyper hints like the way she's capturing this, man. That and the edit mixed together, it looks flawless, man. It really does. Because I hear it's easier to have sex with someone you've already had sex with. Basically, a lot of like kind of failed pickup lines. Essentially, that's kind of what we have going on here. So anyway, after the whole like, Emma, I know it's blocked. Come on. Anyway, after that, the man is still determined. Joe is still determined. He then turns to the computer, and after some kind of searching, some search and trouble, he then goes to then seeks an escort. He goes for the old escort service, and he finds out
$1,000 an hour.
It's a pricey business, the escort game, I'm afraid. So Joe here, he then basically he's redirected by an ad placed on the escort site, I suppose. He's redirected by an ad, an old pop-up ad for Robotstitute. And I love how when the Robotstitute pops up and it kind of blinks a little bit, you have like a light bulb sound effect in there. Bing, bing.
Yeah.
Fast delivery and free. Now, I got to tell you, my question after this sketch, though, is like, it says I think it says free trial. Now, my question is it a free trial or is it like an ownership thing? Is it like they're only doing this promotion for a short time? Like, do you own the thing? Because it sounds like it's a rent. It sounds like, again, it's like it would be an escort thing, but she would leave after the deed is done. But I don't know. It's, again, like non-human. I don't know.
Well, I do like that we get a little bit of ambiguity about like how the how the service is set up, how she arrives at the house so instantaneously, the whole shame of it all that we're going to get to.
Shame is key.
But I mean, there are like a ton of like sort of balls hanging in the air as this thing sort of wraps up. Like, okay, is this like the same Skynet that we saw in Terminator? Is this supposed to be like a direct Terminator pool? I do like that the mythos of this thing is kind of left up in the air and nothing, it's not all just directly explained to you on a silver platter.
Oh yeah, I love when he hits the button. We have like the little sci-fi flourish of like the electricity, like kind of like the magic of it all when he pushes the enter button. Like, oh God, like now he's unleashed the beast.
It's, dare I say, almost like Freakazoid-esque, you know, like.
Oh my God! Yes, yes.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Just throwing it out there.
Oh, that's great. That's an X. Oh, I'm proud of my boy on that one.
Oh God.
Anyway,
I like how I'm your boy.
Proud of me. Going for the old running gag, folks.
You know, I'm like 5 years older than you.
Okay. Anywho. Regardless, so we're hitting our visual cues really well is the point we're trying to land here. Of course, like we see, we hit the enter button, or I guess the delete cola button if we want to put in freakazoid terms. No, seriously. So the point is order is complete. It pops on the screen, order complete. We see Skynet on the screen, which is like, oh God, Skynet. And I would have to assume, yeah, it has to be the same Skynet. I mean, come on.
Yeah, it's got to be. And so does that make the Robotstitute a Terminator, technically?
Now, if I'm a betting man, I would say, what if Skynet would have to build? Bear in mind, I don't know all the ins and outs of the Terminator franchise, and from what I know, that kind of goes on to be Swiss cheese after a while. The point being, if I were a betting man, I would say maybe the logic is that they worked up to kind of like more kind of like destroy all of humankind kind of robot thing. I think they're working up to that point. Kind of starts off here like, hey, advancement. Then like the next stage would be, okay, now we're going to kill humanity instead of please humanity in the biblical sense. Point being, either that or it's like a little side thing. Yeah, we're going to work to kind of like help / destroy humanity. But in the meantime, though, let's see where it goes. Let's just see where it goes.
Yeah.
Regardless, point being, Skynet there, they get their hands in a few pots, let's say. Regardless. There's a knock at the door very instantaneously. The screen blacks out. Now, Tiki, if it were me in this situation, I tell you, you knock at the door, screen blacks out after you've done something questionable. It's like, oh God, I'm panicking. Like, oh God, the screen's completely blacked out. This is not good. Not good. Knock at the door. All very. I'll be hiding under the furniture anyway. So we open the door, and then now this is the footage that I did see. They tease like this, the little snippet, just this little snippet here of the meeting of the introduction of Robotstitute. Here is the inanimate section of things here. So Robotstitute is on a dolly, and this is some of my favorite stuff in the thing here. So a little fun fact: Piper Hinson. So she did research on sex dolls, which obviously brought some trouble, I'd imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless, so basically, in kind of seeing the design here, anything she saw wasn't quite cutting the mustard. The reason the Robotstitute looks the way she does is looks kind of very fembot-esque. Austin Powers fembot-esque, or looks very kind of retro-futuristic. Kind of wrapped in the reflective silver.
Yeah, kind of like the almost tinfoil-like costume, I would describe it as.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, like late 50s, early.
It's got kind of like an original Tomorrowland cast member aesthetic to it, almost.
Sure. Again, like the retrofuturism, as in it's what we think the future is going to be. Again, 60s was all about the retrofuturism, so it's very much style like that. Because basically, what she was seeing with like what the actual sex is. Because I mean, if I'm a betting man, I imagine the sex dolls as sold probably would not have much clothing on them. Period. Which obviously would be optimal if you're trying to get a costume here. You're trying to go for an X-ray.
Does that explain why all the Terminators arrive naked?
Now that you mention that.
Oh God! I think we cracked a clue, Dragon. I think we just. Oh.
Well, it would explain while the Terminators are anatomically correct when you really think about it. If you really think about it.
Things are making too much sense with this whole Skynet fan universe, anyways.
Okay, regardless, the point being, she spiced it up with kind of really cool aesthetic choice in lieu of like, well, here's what the actual thing is, and obviously this isn't going to do us much good here, so let's go with let's go Austin Powers with it now. Let's go retrofuturism. So, and of course, I want to hinge on this just for a mere moment here, because again, this is what's honestly the first image they showed about Robotstitute was Piper Hinson kind of taking a selfie within the costume, the whole thing, and just with the title Robotstitute, and like coming soon with the JGI shorts and so on, so forth. The look really just spoke to me right away, because I just love with the unveiling of this premise. I just love because I just love that retrofuturistic design. It just says like there's something really ridiculous in this, but still, it's like it's kind of like the old RoboCop thing. RoboCop, when announced, Sounds like a stupid idea. Paul Verhoeven, when he was given the script of RoboCop, like RoboCop, it sounds like a dumb, like a cheesy '80s movie. I don't want to do that. And of course, his wife says, "No, read this thing, man. It's got stakes to it." Similar thing, Robotstitute, prostitute. Like it's kind of like so out there, and seeing they got a take on it with that look, it's like it sells you. Like, okay, I want to see where they're going with this, man. It seems, and Piper is in the directing chair. This is going to be awesome. So that's the image that kind of sold me on. That's why I was so excited about this thing from the start. So. Anyway, and then of course you got this footage which kind of fueled the fire. Like, okay, this is gonna be good, and it's a short film. I'm sold, man. I'm freaking sold. Okay.
All right.
All right. So she's wheeled in on the dolly.
Oh God.
This is great physical comedy. This is like
absolutely. Piper is just like completely just still and just. Oh God. And I gotta tell you, Dragon, I deal with dollies on a daily basis at my job, and it is not easy, like working with one. It's very awkward and cumbersome. So I imagine with the shot where they have to they have to get her just kind of like on the dolly, perfectly positioned in that kind of straight line with her back up against the dolly. They have to get Josh like pushing her just right, and she's got to just stand still in position too. I mean, that's not nothing, folks. I bet they had to, get a few takes of that.
Folks, I'll tell you, man. I just want to continue on here. I just want to say there's unsung gold of the physical performance in this scene that Piper Henson's giving, because again, she has to be very inactive in this scene with every little move. And as Tiki said, it's probably going to take a lot of takes, I'm sure. But seriously, though, just like, it sounds crazy, I know, but I believe how artificial she is in this scene. Because again, it's like, I don't know, man. It sounds ridiculous, but she looks so artificial and non-human in that scene, but her not moving in this situation. I don't know, man. Like, she looks like almost plasticky, or like, almost like a non. I don't know. It's crazy, but she just sold me on it.
Yeah. Okay.
So the size difference too. Again, if ever the size difference between Joshua Thomas and Piper Henson were ever noted in this world, it would be this sketch. She's wearing high heels. She's on a dolly too. He has to lug her around, and it's just. I just say I love this. It's just like, of course, she needs to be really imposing for the latter half of this short. So it really comes into play as well too. It's a really smart thing. It's just it's really cool. And also, I love this. I love the score too. Epidemic Sound. They used I believe the library of Epidemic Sound for this. It was all very well chosen. It's really good. Really good
score. It honestly kind of reminds me of the Punch Drunk Love score.
All right.
Okay.
So of course Joe's introducing himself, no answer, like the hey, and I love the poke. The poke's ridiculous, and again the poke as ridiculous. This is selling the whole inhuman quality. Again, it's like she's kind of like just the dead. She's she's an inanimate item at the moment. It just sells you on that. Okay. So she's hauled in there. Of course, Joe almost drops her. Says, "Oh man, you're heavier than you look." Because again, robot, so heavier than she looks. Almost falls, and again, it's like the danger of. I imagine I hope they had like a mat or something down just in case. So she's kind of about to tip over. He grabs her, he catches her, and he leads the kind of the breast grab of it all. And Joe compliments her on this. And by the way, per Piper Henson's direct response to the comment section, husband got a laugh out of this. We're all copacetic. We're all good, man. We got the okay sign. Anyway.
Speaking of husband, Dragon, speaking of Piper Henson's husband,
yeah,
I just want to point out he did the sound mixing and sound design on this.
Oh,
and that was confirmed in the comments during the premiere. And I got to tell you, man, he does a really fantastic job with it.
He does again
between like the voice modulation and like the powering on sound effects and. Just the different, just everything like really goes hand in hand with each other in the sound department in this one. And it's just another example of how this is kind of like a step beyond the traditional JGI sketch.
Absolutely. Okay, so Joe discovers the cord. And the core, and essentially the rear outlet, let's call it, essentially the rear outlet.
No anal for you.
Pulls out deliveries through the back door. So So basically, the plugs are in, and she's charging. We then have a very, and I geeked out about this, man. It's like a deep, like kind of a humanoid robot pull here. So it's very 60s esque too. I love it so much. Where it's a very Jaime from Get Smart. And Get Smart, you had a character who was Jaime the robot. Essentially, he looked like a man, but he had they did all these little great robot tricks. So the man could move his eyebrows to make it look like his head had like an old like 50s computer in his head. And if he ran numbers on something, he would print out a receipt through his mouth. Exactly the way we do the tab. So it flashed me back to Jaime. I loved Jaime, man. Jaime only showed up like 6 times in the whole series, but it was great every time he showed up because he struck up a friendship with Don Adams. I loved it anyway. Point being, very Jaime-like thing here. A little tab kind of shoots out of her mouth and prints out of her mouth. And Josh then, Joe here, he checks the tag, and I love the little detail on this tag. Of course, on one side, on the other side, something very intimidating we're going to see later. It says, thank you for your purchase, pull the tab to start, which you have to do many times with the kind of electronic product. So he removes the tab, and then like the eyes come alive, man. I love the eye effect. The eye effect's one of my favorite little effects in the whole thing. A little bit like little sparks.
Oh, yeah.
So the Robotstitute boots up. And then we have I love the high pitched kind of adjustment, probably from like a prior use or something, saying, yes, yes, you are the key to my lock. It's very kind of keymaster gatekeeper sort of stuff there. All right. So of course, Piper Niven's performance is astonishing in this. I love, she knows what's going to be done in post. So she knows like all the sound effects and things are going to be added, I would assume. So what's great here is that she has very measured movements. So her movements are very measured. So again, like every like twist of the ear, every like movement, so knowing that there's going to be a sound effect or something's going to sell the effect even more so. It's like it's all working so well in conjunction with one another. It's so well conceived, like the way again the real study of movement in the performance. Really great stuff she's doing here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here for your sexual pleasure. What would you like to call me? So unfortunately, he does not say Vanessa, but he says Rebecca.
Oh God. Which of course, a little bit of I don't know, what would you call it? Just kind of like psychoanalyzing going on there. Like he clearly has not gotten over Rebecca out of all the people that he's called.
Yes. Yeah, Rebecca actually had the most love during that montage where it's like, Rebecca, come on.
Importantly, I feel like we kind of go out of our way here with with just how robotic Piper is. Like you said, you are the cue to my lock, kind of like starting over, and just the robotic voice and just the way that she delivers it. It's it's just across the board, just a really, really good performance.
I mean, I love, again, with the eye effect, I love that, okay, after he says Rebecca, on the rewatch, you notice this, when he says Rebecca, the eye effect goes, and essentially, there's an eye blink, and then there's the little light, and there's a blink. Essentially, she's locking in the information. It's like, that's the effect, that's like her put with the input right now. It's like it's the effect of the input.
Yeah.
What should I call you? What does he say?
Joe. No, damn it, I mean Daddy. Okay, Joe, damn it, I mean Daddy.
It's hysterical that he's credited like that, too, and that cracks me up.
He is? Oh my God, I didn't notice that.
No, he's in the end credits. That's literally that. All right, so now here's
played, JGI. Well played.
Okay, this is a headcanon thing for me. This is what cracks me up so much about the sketch. So basically this leads to the misunderstanding, obviously, where she thinks that's his name. And now here's obviously the whole premise is like the doomed premise says, and this is a very ill-conceived idea for Joe, and this is not going to work out from any way.
Yeah, it's just kind of like sometimes there's a lot of things going on here with the message. Of course, you shouldn't hang up your life on sex. You should maybe go out and find new relationships instead of just hinging on old ones. And then maybe if something is too good to be true, it probably is. There's a lot going on here in terms of morals, Dragon.
Absolutely. And what I mean is, basically the whole thing, obviously, for there to be a premise of our story here, obviously this whole thing, something's going to go wrong along the lines per kind of the whole Robotstitute of it all. However, to me, my head what cracks me up is that I like to think that while kind of a doom premise for our guy here, I love to think that Had he gotten the name thing right, things would have turned out better. Had he not hesitated after he gave the name, had he just given it or just gotten it right, I like to think things
and then it
would
have
have
just been like a completely normal sexual encounter just with a robot, and he would have gone about his merry way.
I'd love to think like things would have gone great for him.
Oh my god, that's great! I love that.
that was just be like, oh, okay, like you should have like read the manual or something. You should have like gone with like the program. Perhaps like you would have gotten the safety stuff and the whole anyway. So. All right, so basically she's like, okay, come and get it, essentially, and obviously his hesitancy in this moment because he's still hung up on the name thing and also just kind of playing catch up as things are going on. He's not just following the instructions. She then assumes like the hesitation because he's into the rough stuff, and then now of course they make a point of this during the live broadcast. Joshua Thomas did all of his own stunts. No stunt person for Joshua Thomas.
Oh wow, nice.
Joshy boy here, he was thrown. I don't know who did it. I don't know if it was like more like him putting that in there. I mean, Piper Hinson, I don't put it past her. I could assume she could throw she could throw the tallest crew guy in there. I'm more than certain. But I don't know. Like the point is, he gets thrown over the couch, which looks like it hurts too. By the way, he's like lands like right on his shoulder. Like, imagine if that went wrong. I forget, was there a glass table in that, or was it like what kind of table was that?
It looks like there's like a glass table next to him. I mean, obviously he doesn't go through that, but there's a risk. There's definitely a risk.
If it's a glass table, like I think it was, like it's quite dangerous.
Yeah.
Point being, again, hopefully a measure. I'm sure, like again, like with it being a short film and not being quite like a studio thing. I mean, insurance and safety precautions. A little bit of guerrilla filmmaking in there.
Well,
folks.
the guerrilla filmmaking that I always admire is when they, the Hamilton thing with Harley and the Joker, where he fires the fake gun out the window of the car a few times.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, that is definitely not legal. That is definitely something you cannot do without a permit.
Oh yeah, most definitely, especially in a residential area.
Exactly.
All right, so point being, the rough stuff kind of leads Joe here to be thrown on his back, and then this leads to, I like to think a nod to Austin Powers with the fembots with Robotstitute adjusting her diodes, let's call them.
Oh.
And then of course my favorite robot thing. You never see this. I always love it when we can do bits like this, where like she's fiddling with her ear, basically like adjusting the voice setting and everything. I love that, man. It's like it's a little geeky sci-fi thing. Like, oh man, it's so awesome. Like, you never see that. It's like a little anyway. It's like the meeting of man and machine. It's a cool little bit. Anyway, so then again the music's now. Here's my question: do you think when she's adjusting her ears and stuff, do you think, because the music starts at that point, do you think that's her switching on the music? She's like a radio in her head or something?
God, yeah, that's a good question. I mean, honestly, I always just kind of, when I watched it, I kind of just took it as like, the non-diegetic soundtrack, but I like the idea of the radio in her head, though. That's something I hadn't considered. And of course, I do like how the lyrics of the song very much match up, kind of talking about like dangerous, I'm dangerous, so lines up there. All
right, so then, of course, we have one of my favorite shots, and God, it's ridiculous. I was so caught off guard by it. It's like, oh yeah, because you kind of forgot about it in the moment. So I know she was charged up, but I forgot what that would look like. Or basically, we have the between the legs shot from her, and she has the cord hanging down. Just
oh god,
it was hysterical. The cord between the legs and the cord. Again, it's a well framed shot. I love when we can do the between the legs shots really good here, where we see our character in terror or like kind of taken off guard in between the legs. We also have like the symbol of like, okay, robotic, not a lady. So it's all just kind of jiving very well. Really, again, well composed shots from Piper Hinson's kind of the big thing I'm trying to hit here too. The woman knows how to compose a shot, man. The woman knows where to point the camera. Darn it.
Oh yeah.
All right. So now, so now the comedy turns dark. We kind of go down kind of the old American Pie sex comedy, but again with the JGI stamp of ripping the knob off. And I should be careful when I say that here because we rip a knob off, we're going to rip off like a Mr. Potato Head piece on Piper Hinson here. So we should probably. Anyway. Point being, so she has the great line, like, you can't bring pants to a sex party. And then...
God. She's got a lot of great lines coming up in the next minute or so.
My favorite one's coming up. My favorite line piece is coming up here. But anyway, so what I love is that after she says that, she tears off his pants. Now, here's the thing. Unless you've come prepared, that's not supposed to happen. So when he says "ow," it's like I'm going like, "Oh my god!" Like that's gotta hurt. Like when she's ripped, she rips like unaltered pants, just to rip off the guy. It's like, that looks like it hurts.
God.
But again, adding the JGI kind of dark coating to it, there again, you'd think like, oh, ha ha ha, it's oh boy, he's in for something. But no, it's like, oh god, no, he's in for something, man. Run, hide, call the paramedics. Oh my god. All right.
So she asks if he's attracted to her because his penis is the consistency of a candy, a gummy worm.
You kind of going past my favorite part there, Tiki.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
My favorite part is my favorite effect in the whole thing. Because again, it's like the old Jaime effect, but we've kind of tailored it towards the purpose here. She has a built-in kind of condom vending machine, like a built-in condom dispenser.
I don't want you to give me a virus. Ha ha, just kidding, robot humor.
That's my favorite joke in the whole thing. I don't want you to give me a virus. I just thought it was so hysterical. And of course, I love the safety feature built in with the dispenser. It's just great. It's a great shot. But again, that joke perfect is like, it's just, as I said, giving the robot a sense of humor. It's great. I love it. Like that's their version of the user friendly interface. It's like give her a few laughs while it's like let's kind of make her the Robotstitute with a heart of gold, so to speak. Also, a little bit of a foreshadow too, with the end payoff, the end moral, with kind of our special kind of guest star at the end of things too. All right. Anyway, so it's back to your thing. So she begins. So she activates a vacuum-like filleting function.
Oh dear. And this is where I think this is the point where just the technology starts to go off the rails, wouldn't you say? Like up until then, it's kind of been like, sort of a weird social dynamic. But then with this, it's like, oh, okay, this technology is clearly like, I don't know, going a little bit off kilter here.
Yep. So after, obviously our guy here has been really thrown off by things. Again, he's kind of been assaulted by
the texture of your penis is that of a gummy candy, a gummy worm.
So Joe begins to flee here, and then he goes for the plug. It's okay if I unplug her. He thinks like, okay, she's still charging. If I unplug her, maybe she'll turn off.
And this is a great horror movie moment right here, where he unplugs her. We see her eyes. It's actually pretty much the shot that we're using for the root image here, folks. And then she's just like, no, that's not going to stop her at all because charge complete.
I love the little Mario sound effect too, like the bing. It's like a little coin sound effect from Mario or something. I think they used. Anyway, so she then removes the plug. She removes the plug, and so what does she say?
Oh God, sorry, I don't have the lines written down word for word here, but is it the thing with the
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't have it word for word, Dragon. I'm sorry.
That's such a cop out.
I know. I should have written it down.
Let me see the rock hard PP.
Let me see the rock hard PP. Dragon, I'm sorry. I feel bad because I did crack up at that line. I didn't have it written down in my notes here. I'm sorry. You caught me.
All right, let's see. So then, by the way, I love that in this scene there's another great I hope you caught this. Tell me you
How
caught
about
this.
now? Are you ready to do the dirty nasty? I'm sorry. Go ahead. What about a cameo?
Tell me you saw the set dressing of Mark Sipka's in this.
Yes, I did.
Mark Sipka is. We have his milk photo, like the one that's on his website. Him with the milk,
right?
Well, and I think it's a nod to again the family-friendly Mark Sipka who would never be caught dead in something like this.
Oh my God! You know what I love about this is that it kind of like I love how Sipka is just sort of like, he's embodied in the spirit of JGI at this point. Absolutely. They're really keeping him around in like a legacy point of view.
All right, so then we have the voice alteration to kind of like a Mac, sort of like a Mac automated voice here, like speaker. So are you ready to do the dirty nasty? And then we get to your favorite parts here. So we have an escalation of your gag here, the thing that sold you in the whole piece.
Yeah, from the trailers. Yeah. So basically, it's just like, oh God. Oh, it goes to 11 really quick. Basically, she's like, since she's unplugged, she's like, What'd she say? Like something like my rear end is ready for penetration or something like
No,
that.
no, no, what she, no, what she says. So first of all, I mean, he shrieks like ah. So then she switches the voice like a party girl sort of thing. Ah, I'm unplugged. Back door open for business.
Oh God, yeah, right.
So then we get another shriek from him, like ah, God, not that there's anything wrong with that. So then it's okay. The point being is an escalation in the shriek. It just keeps getting
So
more
then
girlish about
he
her.
just kind of like flees out of the house, runs for his car, as she just kind of like ominously follows him. We see sort of like a close up on the Skynet logo on the dolly.
I love this shot so much. It's just this perfect rack focus of the Skynet tag, and just
Yeah,
that, and,
yeah.
and just showing that again she's pursuing him and following him. And the score is really good. It's like that's probably the run for one of the other great shots of the whole piece right there. So it's a perfect shot. Also, I meant to mention this earlier, but let me mention it now while we're getting here. It's just the whole terror of it all set in. This is also a little similar to Kelsey Prabilski. Remember, she had her Weird Science movie, but she had the I Girlfriend thing, where it's very kind of a modern take on a weird science premise, but more of a horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
Kelsey Prabilski from Watching You play Jessica Parker.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Joe is running like a madman outside. He's grabbed his keys. He's running, and it's Joshua Thomas just kind of running at full tilt, by the way, because he's running so fast he ends up dropping and sliding his keys all the way to the other side, and again shrieking very girlishly in terror, and he's looking, and he literally you see this in cartoons, but rarely do you see it in real life. The man climbs over his car to get to the other side. And he gets in, he begins to drive away in a panic, only to be stopped by the Robotstitute, who says what?
Either you fuck me or I fuck you.
You're effing me or I'm effing you.
Oh God.
And then we have yourself.
This is where we get the iconic Joshua Thomas scream.
One that had your money. That's the one that had your money.
That was my money. I was like, I need to see the origin of that scream. And I got to say, Dragon, a line like either you're fucking me or I'm fucking you, definitely warranting of a scream for sure.
Full deliverance.
All right, so Dragon, up until this point in the sketch, man, it's like Jesus. We've had a smorgasbord of goodness. We've got an original score, great sound mixing and editing. Kind of the shots go above and beyond what we usually see in these sketches. The performances themselves are really top notch. What can we add to the sketch to make it even better? What's the missing ingredient up until now in these last 8 minutes?
Poncio!
A wild Poncio appears, folks.
So real quick, so also wanted to mention right as we fade to black, I love that we see like the Robotstitute smile and then it fades to black. Very eerie, very just Black Mirror-esque. It could have ended there, but then we cut to the afterglow. Joe gets a call from the support center of Skynet, from the surveyor with Skynet, presumably Randy, who was played by the incomparable Alexander Poncio.
Oh God.
Who's doing a follow-up on this guy. This is a smart joke, but the master beta test.
It is.
I know maybe it's a little too easy, but it's funny. I don't know, the whole beta test. It's clever. I liked it anyway. So now here's what's eerie about this to me. It's so eerie that you have someone on the other end of this who has like a readout, like a physical transcript of the events that took place. So like you say, you knew that a penetration had taken, like you successfully penetrated. So, oh God, it's ridiculous. It's scary as all get out, though, the fact that they have like a guy on the other end who's like, no, this is calling you in the afterglow. Like, okay, so how'd it go?
Huh?
Yeah. Anyway. So, of course, as he's going through the physical transcript of it all here, he's asking the big pertinent question, the big morality question of the whole thing here. He's asking, so, first question, did you turn off the real life 96% chance of STD function?
Why would that even be an option? Then Poncio, man, he gets very serious. He gets very stern with him. It's just like, well, because Joe, just because we have the technological advancements doesn't mean that you get to skip out, that you get to have no consequences for being a pervert. Then he says the line, Dragon. He says the line. He's just like,
Shame.
shame, shame, Joe, shame. And I love how casually he's saying it. You know, he's not like screaming it at him or anything. He's just like saying it very matter of factly, just like shame, just shame.
Now, what I really love too is I love how it then goes to the Robotstitute. He's basically just kind of sitting there after the events, like like no, like she's not all she's not like within blankets or anything. She's just kind of sitting there saying shame, shame. It's all linked up there, man.
Shame, shame.
And well, here's the creepy bit that I really love. I really I meant to go back and make sure of this, but because the blinks are very selective with Piper Henson in this role. She's kind of pulling a Christopher Lloyd here with a very selective to feud on no blinks here, because in this scene, doesn't blink at all as she's saying shame, shame. Again, it's these little things that sell you on not a human, and it's great.
All right. I think that's about it, right?
Yeah, that's it. Final thoughts.
Okay, final thoughts. Yeah, I mean, like we've already established, I think this is definitely an interesting new realm into the world of Just Giggle It. I'm excited to see them potentially produce more of these things. You know, it's interesting because we're kind of at this weird sort of crossroads with JGI because they're doing projects like this. Of course, we've got Harley Quinn and the Joker as sort of their flagship series. They're still pumping out the JGI sketch comedy, so there's a lot of different avenues and areas they can go down from here, and I'm excited to see the future. I'm excited to see the some of the fresh faces that have only popped up here and there, maybe get more prominent roles in the sketches going forward. Obviously, I'm excited about, any Harley and Joker that we get. But I mean, most importantly, Dragon, I think these short films, or at least Robotstitute being the first one of its caliber, really they might be the future of JGI if JGI can pull them off well and have good ideas for them. Because I gotta tell you, man, just the quality alone is just like it's just an easy sell of a premise, but the way that they do it just really cuts to the heart of it and has a lot of different things going on that it's saying, and it's silly, but it's also suspenseful, and it's also thought-provoking at the same point. Really, really good job on this. Can't recommend it enough. Link in the description, folks. Check it out. If somehow you made it through this video and yet you haven't actually seen it.
Basically, right. we've given the blind description of the episode, essentially. For me, final thoughts. I got to be honest. Well, I expected something a little longer. As when I was saying in short film, I was saying it sounded longer, but as in this is 10 minutes, which again does fit the barometer of short film by all means. I was thinking more like 30 minutes or something. But because given Harley Quinn and the Joker was 30 minutes as well, it was kind of like maybe it was going to be like another one of those. But regardless, I mean, I feel that I got something very dense. I got something very satisfying in a short film that still exceeded my expectations, even at 10 minutes. And that's something impressive. It's brilliantly directed. It's a brilliantly directed kind of techno thriller, one could call it, that could give Black Mirror a run for its money. They could give Black Mirror lessons, quite honestly. Now I haven't seen all the episodes of Black Mirror. I've seen a few of them. I got to tell you, from what I've seen, I think JGI, they can give them a run for their money. I really do. This is insanely well produced with the effects, the sound design. I love everything about how this thing turned out. They were taking a taboo and kind of a funny subject and kind of applying this. They were applying a sobering perspective in a cautionary tale is kind of where we go with this thing. To quote Goldblum, to paraphrase Jeff Goldblum, sometimes we need the question, it isn't a question of could we, it's a question of should we,
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
See, it's a real. It's honestly, it's like we see a worst case scenario in the path of progress. It's kind of what this thing is like. What happens? What happens if we circumvent the humanity for instant gratification? Like, what happens if we circumvent kind of the things that we kind of are slowly but surely taking for granted in our everyday lives? What if we want things now, want things easily, want things shipped tomorrow? We want all this stuff, and it kind of parallels, how the world is getting more and more, He's getting more and more user friendly, but at the risk of complacency. It's we're raising very interesting questions within this, but also not losing the funny along the way, not losing kind of the sheer terror along the way either. It's like it's just the right. It's just perfectly balanced. One could say. I love. Again, as I said, I love many aspects of this thing. I think it's great. It's something that's really special. And again, kudos to Piper Henson and everybody who made this happen. Again, it's kind of nice to see kind of something kind of make its break from the vault and everything. It's something truly awesome. Also, want to shout out Katie Mary Garland has a sketch coming up next week. I believe
Nice.
I believe next Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that. Point being, the next sketch we're supposed to get should be a Katie Mary Garland sketch.
Cool. Happy to see her again, of course. All right. Yeah, and also, guys, why are you doing this to us? Why are you releasing stuff on Wednesdays? Come on, that's not good for our schedule. Tuesdays, folks. Tuesdays. Anyways. All right, Dragon. I think we've rambled on long enough about this. I've had a really long day at work, so I'm sorry. I got through this as good as I could. I'm sorry if I wasn't as active as I could have been in this conversation. So take us away, sir.
Well, that does it for now until the next exciting reach into the Just Giggle It grab bag.
Let me suck your rock hard pee-pee.
Oh, God. What?
That's not a line? Something about a pee-pee?
No, I don't want you to give me a virus. Don't.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm sorry. All right. Let's try this again, Dragon. Take 2. And this time, you do the outro. Well, I mean, you do the stinger. All right? Take 2.
Got to be safe. Don't want you to give me a virus. Haha. Robot humor.
No. I mean, just do the full thing. Just do the outro. Just to buffer my idiocy, Dragon. Just do the outro, just so we can just edit all that out potentially.
Okay. All right. So that does it for now until the next exciting reach into the Just Giggle It grab bag. Got to be safe. Don't want you to give me a virus. Haha. Robot humor.